Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely wedding favor. We're using some lovely takeout boxes and some tags, and it's very inexpensive and easy to make using supplies from our sponsor today, which is Paper Mart. You can check them out online at www.papermart.com, your best source for packaging and more. And when do you need more packaging and more supplies than when you're planning a wedding? And it really irks me that pretty much any website you go to, except Paper Mart, if it has the word wedding in it, you're going to pay double. And that's just not right. So here, you're going to buy takeout boxes for the same price the Chinese restaurant pays, which is pretty awesome. So the first thing you need to do is take apart one of these boxes. So what I'm going to do is use a pair of jewelry pliers. You can use any pliers you have, and you just get in there, and there's little metal prongs in there. If you just get in there and grab it, you can open it up and take it apart. Once you get the first one out, it's a lot easier to finagle the second one. Okay. So then you just need to open it up. Now you notice one side is shinier, the inside is waxed, and it's very shiny. So you're going to put that face down on your table. And then, depending on the motif of your wedding, you might want to choose a stencil to spray a design, just a very subtle design. You don't have to. You can just go ahead and spray it willy-nilly, but I like this little quatrefoil design. So I'm going to do this in some purple and some pink. I'm going to flip it. Don't worry if you smudge, it's not a big deal. We're going to be blotting a lot of that ink off anyway. So now you just want to grab a paper towel and blot that ink away. I'm going to actually save that for another project. Alright, so now that it's also helped it dry, then I'm going to go over with my Shimmer Spray, just my Pearl Shimmer Spray, and give it a nice spritz of color, of shimmer rather. So it's going to have a really nice sheen to it. I can show you on the back of the box a little bit better here how nice and shiny and glitzy that is. That's going to be so pretty on a wedding table, especially if you have a few votive candles burning. Alright, now while I have my ink out, I also want to dye some things to match for my box. So I'm going to dye some ribbon and some tags and get these all ready for the next step in our process here. So again, just going with a color. This is great because you can make everything custom. So, you know, that saves a lot of money and it also makes it look really expensive. Now these tags, I want them to kind of be watercolory and organic looking, so I can actually dab it in there, set that aside. I really like what the watercolor effect does there, so I'm just going to leave those aside to dry. I can mop up all this extra with my ribbon and my flowers, and that too is going to be set aside to dry to use later. So I would do this assembly line style. I would start off by dyeing everything, and then I would go in later when it's all dry and assemble it all together. Okay, now we have a fairly dry spot. What I'm going to do is take one of my dried tags, and I'm just going to stamp a little flower and a little sentiment here. So I think I'm going to use this outline. This is by Stampin' Up, but there's lots of companies that make these botanical stamps. And I like this though because it's got an outline, and then it's got the little part you stamp on the inside, and it's nice that it's offset. It looks like an offset press. It looks very organic, very homemade, and that look is very trendy in weddings right now. Alright, and then just to give it a little something else, I'm going to I'm going to ink my edges here with that same ink. So again, I am making everything match. I did a tutorial on making these little daubers and the sprayers a couple months ago. And if you want to be really fancy, you can actually pick a stamp pad you like and buy the re-inker and make your spray inks with that, and then it will match perfectly. So that's going to be set aside. I'm going to put a little ribbon on it. This is the dyed ribbon that, through the magic of YouTube, I've already had dried. And I'm actually going to put a little plastic pony bead on there. Now I know you're probably thinking, geez, it'll be plastic. This is a wedding, you know. But the pony beads have nice big holes that I can slide onto this ribbon. So I think one plastic bead is not going to kill your design. But go ahead and find some glass ones if you're, bothered by that. I'll slide my ribbon in there and put a bead on both of the strands. This is a little tricky. You might need a paper piercer to get that to go through the hole. You need the pointy side down and just slide right through there. And that will be ready to go on my box as soon as I get it assembled. Alright, so we've got our dried box here. Now you can use a heat gun to speed the drying process up, but look how shiny and shimmery that is. And see, the pattern is just very subtle under there because we sprayed our shimmer on top of everything. So to reassemble our box, we are just going to fold each of these little wings up, and they're going to go over like that. And we're going to insert our little metal piece. Alright, and just pinch those back in place. Alright, now I'm going to fold up my box. Tuck it under the thing like that. And the next thing I'm going to do is add a ribbon to the handle. And I want a pretty thick, fancy ribbon. So I've got this wide satin ribbon from Paper Mart. And it comes in a lot of colors, so you can choose exactly the color you need for your project. And I'm just going to do a simple, no, just like that. Doesn't get any simpler than that, folks. And to notch the edges, you probably know how to do this, but in case you don't, just fold it in half, line up the edges, and snip. Do that for either side. Try to keep it even. Alright, and that's really just, it's lovely and elegant. That's really all you need. Now we're going to tie our tag on there. I'm just going to do a simple overhand knot. And I want to make sure it's got some room to move freely, so I'm going to tie it on there kind of loose. Then we're going to take a flower that we've already dyed, and I'm just going to put that on there. You can use any flower. Just buy them in white at the dollar store, and then they're perfect for using on projects like this, or scrapbook pages, or cards, or whatever. I'm using a glue dot from Paper Mart. It's a great time to, if you're buying for a wedding or a classroom, it's great to get your glue dot to Paper Mart because you will save a lot of money on them. And I also want to put a glue dot on this eventually just to kind of keep it so it's held in place and looking really nice. I'm going to use some white buttons. And I want to cover up that glue dot there so it doesn't get stuck on anybody. Now I'm going to glue dot down the tag. And I think another button or two just to finish off the design. I go through a lot of glue dots when I'm teaching classes, so it's really nice if you can find a good deal on it. That way, you know, they work a lot like a hot glue gun, but you don't have to worry about anybody burning themselves. So there you have it. It's simple, it's fun, it's easy, and it's so lovely. And you did it yourself, and you saved a ton of money, and you got a beautiful custom look. I want to thank you so much for watching today. Thanks to Paper Mart for sponsoring our video. You can find them online at www.papermart.com, where we make you look even better. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.